Welcome into McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey's episode 111. We're starting a little late today because my day job had some other requirements.
Dude, you have come in here like a freaking tornado. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
You can do this podcast shit in your sleep, can't you?
Occasionally I do it in my sleep, which is very frustrating because I'd like to kind of sometimes get away from it. But yeah, welcome into the show. It's Monday, September the 25th. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody out there. And we'll talk about a number of things. Jeff Collins will join us, former Temple coach, former Georgia Tech coach. He'll join us momentarily, and we will talk to him, talk about the weekend that was in college football and the NFL as well, and all of those things. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Had a good weekend. Tired. Interesting betting week, back and forth, but good weekend. Good ball games. Got some fan bases stirred up and some fan bases happy, and it's college football, man.
That's how it works.
Do you know that 50% of the teams lose on Saturday?
I did.
Yeah.
We're brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, and zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
I'm rocking with the Kiwi Blend Rainstorm. My guy Bob got us taken care of for maybe eternity. They had to deliver the rain with an 18-wheeler. It was 675 pounds worth of rain. Like that's
just unbelievable.
Yeah. So I got my garage is slam packed. I got to bring Chase some. I forgot. I was supposed to bring him some. I forgot. But the Cooper Chevrolet chat, Neal, is already hopping. They were ready to go when we got here today, even an hour late. And just to remind you guys that during September, you can get 3.9% financing for 72 months on the new Chevy Silverado crew cabs and no payments for 90 days. Check them out at Cooper Chevrolet Buick, Greg told me, but CooperChevrolet.com. And September's coming to an end, so we got to get on that if you guys want to get that good financing deal there.
What about Bushnell?
That's what we're going to next.
Okay.
I was rotating.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Bushnell, also a big sponsor of ours, is known for quality optics over the last 70 years in hunting, shooting, and tactical categories. They sell a variety of optics products, including rangefinders, rifle scopes, sporting scopes, and, of course, binoculars. We will make sure on social media to post until they get our link deal situated with YouTube. But we'll make sure we'll get our link posted on the social media. But make sure you click that link, check out Bushnell, and get your good products from them today.
Okay.
So how many press conferences have you done today?
Just two. Had Kiffin's typical Monday press conference, and today's the first day you can officially have a college basketball practice. They've been working out, but today's the first team practice.
They don't have to do the four. You can't do like more than 5 people or something crazy.
Something like that.
Today.
Yeah. You can get with guys and work with guys, but you can't put the team together. So today's the start of the team. Today's technically the start of the college basketball season. So we had Chris Beard today.
Basketball season, because of the NBA, seems like it just goes almost year round. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the NBA ends so late, and then you're starting college. What you had June, so you had July, August, September. 2 months off.
Yeah, I think NBA training camps get started here in the next week too. So their preseason starts. The start of the NBA season is end of October.
Well, there's no reason for them to even get out of shape, is there? I mean, they can't really, can they?
Not really. I mean, they pretty much play year-round. Guys get off their feet a little bit, but, they had the FIBA stuff. And so, no, most of the guys have been playing.
That's insane. Check out these production skills here.
I'm a little off my game right this
All gravy.
There's Jeff Collins right there, former Temple, former Georgia Tech coach, the
minister
of
mayhem.
Of mayhem. I started to say disruption. I'm thinking about disrupt. It's been a week wearing his Phillies gear today.
He's got a CAA shirt on, his Phillies gear. His man,
ready to go, man.
Your man Ed must have come see you sometime recently.
Always got to give love to the agents.
Hey, always got to, right? 3% worth anyway, right?
No doubt. And the Phillies, I know this is a college football show, but the Phillies are one game away from clinching the playoff spot, and have a warm spot in my heart for any of the Philadelphia teams.
Well, I got news for you. They're probably going – whoever gets the Braves in the first round
Oh, God, here we go.
they're going to win. The Braves they're going to get swept. They're terrible right now. Can't pitch. I mean, if you can't pitch in the playoffs, you're done.
Well, I hope they can't pitch for the next 4 days because
A good pitching. Well,
Cubs are there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we need the Braves to.
Well, the Phillies
not try.
practically owned the Braves last week. They snuck one out and were able to get a deal. But
Well, don't want to spend any time on the baseball part, but you do have to pay attention to what Philadelphia did last season in the postseason. That lineup got hot. You get just a little pitching and your bullpen solid, and you can make a run.
That's how the Braves won the World Series. They didn't get in.
Yeah.
They get hot. All right, well, let's do football here since this is actual. The rumor is this is a football show.
Love it.
I want to get the Minister of Mayhem's. That's what we're going to start calling it. The Minister of Mayhem's DC performances of the week. Where are you at this week? Who got the Minister of Mayhem's DC performance of the week?
Yeah, well, last week it was obviously Austin Armstrong, but I thought Saturday, especially with everything that was going on in the media and social media, I thought Kevin Steele and the Crimson Tide defense put on a show with the sacks, tackles for loss, holding that offense to 50 yards rushing and less than 300 total when they've been averaging over 570 or something ridiculous. So I thought the plan that Kevin Steele and Coach Saban put together and executed was awesome.
What was the plan, best you can tell?
I thought it was let them get their feet set, let the Alabama defensive players get their feet set and get ready to play. And they cut them loose. Didn't do a lot of multitudes of checks and different variations of pressures. They just let their dudes go play. And I thought it served them well.
That was probably what I noticed the most is a lot of base calls out there, and play base. But
so you guys are football people. Excuse my voice. So did they put a blueprint out there? So how does this work moving forward? Right, because coaches they lick their wounds or whatever, and they move to the next. And
right,
if you're Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss, do you have to look at what happened and go, okay, other people are going to try to emulate that if they've got similar talent, and here's how we counter that? And then if you're LSU, I don't know the name of their defensive coordinator right now off the top of my head, they're coming to Oxford this week. If you're LSU, do you look at that film and go, okay, well, there's a blueprint for how we attack them. We're going to throw some modifications in it and do what we do, but that's generally how you go get them. Is that some of that factor into what happens on Sunday and Monday?
Well, I think the thing that you see, especially with tempo teams, is the teams and the defenses that try to do too much. They end up creating more problems for themselves than the teams that have really good players, have an elite set of defenders. Let them get their feet set, get their eyes to all the motion shifts, window dressing, and let the guys play. And you don't have to, as a coordinator, generate all the tackles for loss and all the big plays. Sometimes the less you do, the players will do it for you.
Yeah, that was the thing is, once they went through the opening script, he did, if knowing what hurts that defense, it was literally he checked every box in the opening script, man. He checked every box. First one, shift strength, go, flood, go jet sweep, trying to create more gaps. And the one that I was surprised he didn't go back to that hurts that defense is we used to do it with a tight end, Jeff, where you take the receiver, 19 called a big pass play early in the game, where you come like you used to go the old outside zone and he runs the track and then back up on the wheel route out the back door. That hurts it. And he hit 19. The receiver had a receiver split cut down and came flat and then wheeled up the backside. But he ran through the opening script pretty good.
And that box to the field or to the boundary, either one are dangerous against that setup.
Yeah, that was the one that Arkansas hit us on after we lost to Ole Miss. When I think that was 14. After we lost to Ole Miss, we went to Fayetteville, and they hit that freaking tight end 18 times. I felt like on that play.
Right,
that's the game. It's hard to cover.
The Big Ten and Manny Diaz, what he did, to the Iowa offense which is not tempo. So Manny can sit there and just dial his stuff up, and he had it rolling. What it was, I got it written down: 70 total yards, 6 forced fumbles, 4 recovered, and 5 tackles for loss. So he got to get their feet set because they're breaking a huddle. They're not going fast. And Manny got to dial up and be old school Manny up in that whiteout up in Happy Valley.
Neal, the Iowa had good pants on though. They had good suits on. They looked good.
I didn't like the pants.
You didn't?
No, I prefer the yellow pants with the white top.
Dude, those things were bad. I thought they were sharp.
I know you guys are coaches, and coaches don't talk about firing other coaches. I get it.
What would make you think that?
But the whole offensive coordinator thing there, to say that that's a distraction and an issue and that's not working is the understatement of all time. They're a fairly decent defensive team. I don't know how you face your defense in practice every day as Kirk Ferentz and go, hey, we got this taken care of on offense, fellas. I mean, the defense is like, if we give up a single point, we lose. I mean, the minute they got three, and I was like, that's going to be a big hill to climb. And it was.
Well, but to Tyler's point, the uniforms, I like the black, white, black. That was they got away from swag stealing the Pittsburgh Steelers and went to their own deal. And I thought, at least for the most part, they looked good.
It looked good.
Yeah,
they look good.
And if we could go to the group of 5, I thought the job that Jason Seymour, the defensive coordinator at Marshall University, anytime a group of 5 team beats a Power 5 team in ACC school, you got to get the hat off to them. So Jason Seymour, the defense coordinator at Marshall, held them 3 for 16 on money downs, which is huge to get a win, against a Power 5 team when you're a group of 5. It impressed me.
Yeah, not a good day, night. The old third down convert. There's no stat that depresses an offensive coach worse than third down conversions.
Oh, I'm sure, because that means you're sending the kicker out there to punt. Just a disaster.
Because especially when it's like 3 for 15, because those 3 could be from like 1 yard.
Right.
It wasn't like now if you're 30% from 3rd and 7 plus, you're going, okay, it was an average night. But 3-15 overall.
And they say those offensive coaches, Tyler, always say end a drive with a kick is a positive. No, it's not.
No, punting's for quitters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a shirt made up. McCready and Siskey, punting is for quitters. We need to do that.
I've seen that strategy backfire a time or two, but sure.
What you talking about? Getting the shirts?
No.
or the punting for quitters?
Hey, the punting's for quitters. And you're like, you're on your own 20. You might want to think about it.
Yeah. All right, I got a question for you. You've been a part as a position coach, coordinator, and as obviously a head coach, and you were in 2 different situations. And you and I have talked about this before, but I think it'd be something interesting for the fans. Why and this is kind of how you put it, and I think it was really good, why are all new head coaching jobs or all new coaching jobs aren't necessarily rebuilds? Explain that.
And that's just a pet peeve of mine when I'm watching games on Saturdays or Friday nights or Thursdays, whenever they're on. And regardless of the team, if they're year 1, year 2, or even year 3, they call it a rebuild whenever they're talking about any job. And I think, what you saw on Saturday, the hype game that I know I'm sure you guys are going to talk about later was Colorado versus Oregon.
They played this weekend?
They did.
No.
And, and I do consider what Coach Prime is going through out in Boulder. That is a rebuild. You go from 1-11, however you go about rebuilding that program or reshaping it, that is a rebuild. And I think Dan Lanning has done a tremendous job out at Oregon, but let's call it what it is. That wasn't a rebuild. Back-to-back Pac-12 champions with Mario, who then goes to back home to Miami. That thing was move-in ready.
Yeah, he had left him a lot of players.
The previous owner, moves back home, gets a different job, and you get a move-in ready situation. Obviously, you redecorate a little bit, but the infrastructure, the facilities, the roster, it was move-in ready. and then what Coach Prime is going through, and a lot of places have gone through, you do have to start over. And there's some tire that we've been a part of that have been tear downs. You get the place and you got to tear it down because it's in bad shape. So all of those jobs are different, and I just, as you said, just the easy thing to say if you're an announcer or a broadcaster, whatever, is rebuild, and that's not always the case. And we saw that out there in Eugene, Oregon, the two differences on Saturday.
It's funny is like the announcers, it's like it's a rebuild. Then your ass is fired. Like, hey, wait a minute, I was rebuilding it. What happened? See, what happened was that's how they do you.
Yeah, these days I just don't know how long anybody gets to quote rebuild something. I mean, it feels like the sand comes out of the hourglass
Quick.
a lot faster than it used to. I mean,
quick.
I mean, I'm listening to fan bases around, just kind of paying attention. I mean, they're turning on first year coaches 5 games in, and it's like you might as well give him. He's going to get another year. I mean, you might as well just back off. But there is an urgency that I don't know what has sped that up. It's more than the TV money, because the fans don't get the damn TV money. It's social media. It's all that stuff. There's just a lot there.
All right, let's switch gears. I want to get your opinion on this because I got a couple. I want to get Neal's opinion on this too. Neal's been hooping up all day, so we're going to get Neal back in the football world. All right, what team – I got a few.
Okay.
What team do you have that no one's talking about, not getting the national love that they deserve? What team do you think is going to start – we're going to start recognizing and start talking a little bit about that team as being a national recognized team?
Yeah. So I got 2 group of 5 teams that I'll start with. You saw what Georgia State did. Hopefully, Georgia State put on a show. What was that, Thursday night against a really good Coastal Carolina team, and then you just watch it on the national stage. I thought they put on a show for what Coach Elliott has built since he's been there. And that was a rebuild. That's a genuine rebuild, and he got the time to do it. And he's done it the right way, and then on a national stage, puts on a show, and now hopefully everybody will talk about him moving forward.
Hey, I want to talk about Georgia State real quick because I saw they're big fans of the show, so they're listening. They did something schematically. When you were watching football, you've pretty much seen everything. They did something schematically that I had personally never seen before, and they were gashing Coastal Carolina with it. They were lining up in 4x1 to the boundary. Okay, so they had 2 receivers to the boundary. One was eligible, one was ineligible. Then they had 2 off the ball, and one of those guys was a tight end. And so they were creating a 5x1 surface to the boundary where the running back was closest to the 4x1 into the boundary. And so they would bring the tight end in motion, and they left a little bit bigger split between the center and the guard. And they were getting them to set the front because everything tells them to set the front to the boundary. And they were bringing in this big tight end, and he was coming and putting his hand on the hip of the center, creating another guard. And so basically they were creating an extra gap, and they were running inside zone, read zone off of it, and just mutilate. I mean, just going up and down the field with it. They didn't have an answer. Have you ever seen that before?
No, but I didn't. The quarterback they got,
it's the truth.
He's the truth. He could flat out play. They get him in 3rd and 13 one time, do a great job covering, do a decent job rushing, and my man just made everybody miss, got the first down, and then just casually matriculated out of bounds to get ready for the next first down spot.
If you're a high school coach or a coach, period, out there, especially in high school, and you're a team that runs the read zone with the screens and stuff, and you have to look at this and put this in. I mean, you can't stop it. You don't have an answer. Like, I'm curious to people have to come up with something, but you're getting the front set, so they got where you really don't have an A gap or B gap player. So you're going to have to start plussing your backers. I mean, it brings up all kinds of crazy stuff. That's before they start running counters and everything else off of it. I know this is your scheme. Since you're, Lane called you a great schematic guy, you can go back in and start talking about this, and he'll look at you like you got everything figured out. But it's really good stuff, and because he could also pull it and throw the screen if they try to bring, minus the backers back. It puts people in binds.
That was a first for me in my whole career, by the way, where a coach acknowledged that I picked something up schematically and understood it. So
Dude,
I was kind of proud of myself.
Hey, you know what? I listened to the press conference a little bit later this afternoon since we were an hour behind. And I you know what? I was like, that's my dog, man. Look, I was pumped for you, man. You got some props, some schematic props.
How about that?
All right, who's your other? I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to talk about Georgia State for a second.
And I've already talked about him a little bit. Is Marshall? Marshall's 3-0 right now. They just beat an ACC school, won 8 games a year ago, beat Notre Dame a year ago. So I think Charles Huff and Marshall University, old Southern Conference guy. So hats off to any old Southern Conference school that has moved on to, Division I football and is putting on a show. So I'd say those are my 2 group of 5 schools that I think if they keep playing, eventually will crack into that top 25, kind of like Tulane has, kind of like Coastal Carolina has in the years past, those kind of deals.
Yeah, I'm excited. The guys at Georgia State are just good people. And I'm excited for them. They got to go to take on my guy Summerall this week. They're playing the Trojans this week. So I gotta it's one of those games where I got buddies playing buddies, so I just gotta remain not partial. So
he's got Atlanta written right across the chest. So they're claiming Atlanta now. So I gotta give my hats off to them.
That's it. All right. So my team won because I was the same way with Georgia State. I've watched them play, I guess, a couple of games, probably three of their 4 games. Dude, Washington has got it going on. Washington's got an argument. Dude. Washington's got an argument. They could be the best. They may be the best. They're in an argument for playoff contention. I mean, they're gonna have their chances, but they're good, dude.
Washington State.
They are. They're good. Washington State deserves it and all that stuff. I think Washington.
Oh, Washington might be the best team in the country.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying Washington State deserves a lot of credit too. What they did to Oregon State the other day. I mean, Oregon State's good, and what they did to Oregon State was impressive. They're solid. And then the other one, and they go and get the attention this week. This is their opportunity. Duke.
The Dukies.
They get Notre Dame coming in off that crazy ending and loss to Ohio State. I mean, I don't know how that happens. You only got 10 guys on the field, and you don't. I watched that. I was like, I caught myself cheering for Notre Dame, and I just couldn't believe, like, you know what's coming on this play. And anyway, Duke gets their shot. They get Notre Dame, game day, and all that stuff will be there. It's a big opportunity for them because if they win it, I mean, suddenly everyone's talking about.
Well, they're
Duke.
winning, and they're winning convincingly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my man, Bob Ricardo. Bob was in the chat in the Cooper Chevrolet chat a little while ago. He told me he wanted to kick me. He said because I didn't take Duke over Northwestern spread a couple weeks ago. He said that was a lock of the century. But he's right. They're kicking everybody. I mean, they've won big. They played Clemson. They didn't really have a letdown after that. They're good. And then my other team. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Okay.
Just keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Quietly, just kicking the shit out of everybody. The Miami Hurricanes.
Yep.
I mean,
that's who I got down.
Oh, you got them down? That's who you had?
That's who. That was the other team I had. Them and Utah were the other 2 that I had.
Utah was solid. You talk about defensive effort. What Utah did to UCLA the other day, that doesn't happen to Chip Kelly teams very often.
But when it does happen to them, it's usually Utah.
Yeah.
The lowest scoring that he's had since he's been at UCLA, Utah. And then back to Miami and Duke. The head strength coach at Duke is Dave Feely, who was my strength coach at Temple University. He was also the strength coach prior at the University of Miami. So a lot of the development, all those kind of things that they've got going on down in Coral Gables, Dave Feely had a piece of that development, mindset, toughness, all those things. And now he's gone to Duke, and he's the head strength coach there, and he's doing a wonderful job.
Well, it's just I don't think people understand how hard it is to do what they're doing at Duke.
Yep.
I don't think fans can appreciate the roster building that it takes. And, I mean, you can't miss, dude. Like, you talking about hitting? You can't miss. Like, you got to go get guys that are, one, they're academic and can go in school, can make it to go to school there. But you can't miss because you're not going to go get 5-star guys to go to Duke in football.
Right.
We're not talking about basketball, football. What they're doing is really, really, really impressive. So
they found a dude in that quarterback, huh?
Ooh.
I mean, he's a former basketball player, and just started playing football late in his high school career. And now he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the country.
He's a Alabama kid, right? South Alabama.
I think.
Is he from down there?
Let me see.
I don't know why.
Can't remember.
I don't know why. For some reason, I think he's from Lower Alabama. I could be dead wrong.
I should know that. I'll look it up.
I think that is true.
Yeah, I went to Fairhope. Hello.
I thought that's what it. I was thinking Daphne, but Fairhope. Yeah.
Yeah, went to Fairhope. I didn't know. I didn't know he was in Mobile. I thought he was somewhere south. How did I not know that one? That must have been in my fired year. Because hey, that was the one good thing is when I started Quick U. The names, remembering all the names and stuff. I know. I watch them. They're good, but I don't have to keep track of the names.
You used to know every one of them too.
I know everyone in every city and every county and everything else. And I was terrible with names, but I knew those.
Who his uncle's name was, what his trainer's name was, you knew all of them.
All right, last question I'm going to ask you. SEC this week. What's your big game this week? Who you interested in watching and see how they do defensively this week in the SEC?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I will, and you guys get on me later. But I'm going on Josh Pate's only Saturday, whatever the cool thing. He's got a cool name for it. The Saturday tour. I'm going to Auburn, Georgia game over in Auburn, Alabama. Get to see our main man, Coach Freeze, live and in action. And I'm excited about that. It'll be the first time being on a SEC sideline since I was in D.C. at Florida. So I'm excited to go there and watch them in person.
That will be the oldest rivalry in the South.
Yep.
I don't know how it's going to be. Take the under. Take the under. There's going to be a lot of defense in that game, not a lot of offense. Take the under.
Auburn's better on defense than I thought it was. They did some things defensively against Texas A&M that was pretty impressive. And look, I'm on record here. I think A&M's good. I know they lost at Miami, but I've watched A&M play, I think, 3 games now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think A&M's good. I didn't say they're great. I didn't say they're winning the SEC. So when they don't, people.
So Texas A&M national champs?
No.
Okay.
But I think they're solid. I mean, offensively, they're good. And when they lost the quarterback, Weigman went down and Johnson came in and played really, really well. Actually, kind of. They stepped it up a little bit.
Dude, how about this? Max Johnson came in there, and we'll talk about the game in a little bit, but Max Johnson, he ran the offense, in my opinion, for the time he was in there. He made it work now.
He absolutely made it work, yeah, because Weigman was having some struggles, but Weigman has played well all season. He's been really good.
But Max Johnson, they didn't skip a beat. He went in there, and he was going through his progressions, reading it, putting it on time, and he would take shots. Weigman's a little bit too – he plays too cautious. And I think there's a fine line about being stupid with the football and being too conservative. And I think he's a little bit more on the conservative side of it. But
that one to the corner of the end zone, that 7 cut to whatever one of his 5-star receivers, and it was a 50-50 ball, but his 5-star receiver made it a 99 to 1% ball and just yoked it down and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. No doubt. Well, brother, I appreciate you. I'll be watching for you on Josh Pate's deal on Saturday. Make sure you tell Freeze I said hello, and make sure you tell Freeze Neal says hello. Neal, because Neal and Freeze are like this. And tell Freeze that Siskey wants him to call fight song this game. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Yep,
give him a signal too.
Okay.
All right.
Done.
Appreciate you, brother.
You fellas.
Love me some Jeff. You like how make sure Freeze.
Yeah,
he watches the show, so he knows.
I'm sure
he knows. He probably haven't watched it this week though. Won't be watching it this week.
He's got his hands full.
He's got his hands full, boss. Neal.
Yes, Tyler.
Do you know what time it is?
It's time to go over what we got right and what we got wrong.
It is Tell the Truth Monday.
Tell the Truth Monday. Okay.
Well, we go over our picks, discuss the games, what we did right, what we did wrong. So, Neal, through college and the NFL, you were 5-6.
For me, that's pretty good. You
were 2-4 in college. You were 3-2 in the NFL.
Yeah, I've now gone 5-5 overall in the last 2 weeks in the NFL, and for me, that's pretty solid. This is 5-6 is about as good as I can really hope for week after week.
Hey, that's consistency. I went 3-3 in college and
Mhm.
3-2 in the NFL.
Okay.
So I was 6-5 overall. So I gained a couple units on you over the weekend, and in your lead, we both have the exact same record. We're both 17-22.
Yep.
Except you have hit 2 money lines, I've hit 1, and so you have a 1.65 unit advantage going in to
Whew.
this week.
Way to go, me.
Way to go, you. We'll start with you. Your Boise State Broncos.
Yeah. No, this was a stupid bet. It was
You win against San Diego State, and you know what?
Well, I've done that a couple of times.
Well, they said they had enough because you used to
Yeah.
go with them.
Yeah.
Boise State was favored by 6.5, and they win 34-31. So they
Yeah.
only win by 3.
Yeah. That wasn't the worst beat that I had over the
No, it
weekend.
wasn't.
Though. We had one coming that was
Yes.
just pissed me off.
But San Diego State Friday night, they came back and got you. All right, Neal, your second pick that you also lost, as I did as well. You had SMU plus 6.5. I was really surprised by this game.
TCU beat their ass.
They lose 34-17.
That wasn't even a competitive game. I had it on the TV. I was watching Auburn A&M,
Yeah,
and I
same
had
time.
SMU TCU. I did my Peloton, my Saturday 11 o'clock Peloton ride, which is good.
Yeah.
And I had those two games on, and I was surprised at how TCU dominated SMU.
Dude, they had they brought it within 4 points at one time and maybe twice, and then but they just got it. You felt like even though they cut it to 4, they were down by 44. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those games where they never felt like you were.
Because they were getting beat at the line of scrimmage.
They were getting destroyed. That one shocked me. I still that one just I was taken back by that. All right, a game that I really liked that you won. You had North Carolina minus 7.5. That was Quick U versus Quick U, and North Carolina beats Pitt 41-24. Get them by 17. You cover easily.
Teams that are not getting the national recognition they deserve. UNC's in that mix. No one's really talking about them, and they should, because their offense is pretty damn strong, and their quarterback play is elite.
There's going to be they run the gamut. They're going to play Florida State. They're going to play
Duke.
They're going to play Miami.
Yeah, we'll see.
So they'll have a chance.
Got plenty of time to find out who's legit and who's not.
Speaking of teams that nobody's talking about, your next dub, the Maryland Terps.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start riding Maryland.
Your Maryland Terps get no respect from Vegas. They go into the Mel Tuckerless Michigan State Spotty Spartans and win 31-9, cover easily.
Did you watch any of it?
I did not. Did not get a chance. I will have that on sometime this week. I did not get a chance to watch that game live.
They are in business mode. It's 2 weeks in a row that they just they didn't play super high. They just played real physical football.
Yeah, I mean
he's good.
He's good.
Yeah,
and getting no love. I got them. I got them written down to watch this week. I've watched them play a couple times, but Talia, man, he's very accurate with the ball. He makes good decisions.
They call a really good. They have a really good plan for
him.
him. They don't ask him to do things that he can't do.
No doubt. You lose this one. Hell of a game. They come back and try to get it for you. Oregon State loses 38-35. They tried to come back and backdoor McCready for you and try to win late, but they lose 38-35 at Washington State.
Great game. I told you this would be a great game.
Yeah, Washington State controlled the game.
They did
until it was like 38-17 late. I mean, they had
sounds right.
38-20 somewhere in there. 38-21, something like that. They had them. They scored a couple late, but they're both good teams.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be some more. I mean, the Pac-12 is I hate that it's the last year, man. It's like you're finally getting. This is their time to shine, and they're going away.
Yeah.
What did you take about the coach at Washington State going after? We'll talk about the other one in a minute, but what did you take about going after Lee Corso?
So I'm in the minority on this,
okay.
and I tell people this all the time. I don't really like that show. I don't think it's particularly entertaining. I'll flip to it occasionally a little bit, but I can't remember the last time that I spent more than 5-6 minutes on it. It probably was Saturday, because at the end of I was wanting to watch Auburn, Texas A&M, and that game was
Was
coming
on, yeah.
out of game day. So I turned on. It was like 10:57, and it was like almost 7, 8 minutes of that show. I saw the picks and stuff, which was fine. The head thing and all that. I don't know. I mean, it's not Lee Corso's fault that the Pac-12 fell apart. I don't really know exactly what got said. I understand the people at Washington State are upset. The people at Oregon State are upset. But I mean, to act like maybe I'm in the minority. Again, I'm admitting it. I just don't know that. I don't know that I put a lot of credence on that show. I mean, I just don't think I don't think it is what it once was. Maybe it'll get it back. Maybe they've got some big announcement coming soon. I mean, that's the big rumor out there in TV world. But barring something like that, a reset that legitimizes it, it's just kind of turned into a cartoon. And I don't like watching Corso on TV. I said this on my show on another network this morning, that I would like to think that if that were me at 88, that someone in my family would come to me and go, "Hey, let's get you. Let's
I'd talk to you.
Let's stop."
I'd talk to you.
This is this is going to be his legacy. And there was a time when he was great on that show, and there was a time when that show was great, but it's not great right now. And I know it's nostalgic for a lot of people, but it's not a great show.
Yeah, but don't pick on the old man.
Right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
I'm saying.
Like,
Just leave him alone.
You know, there's and you know, it's like Ryan Day going after Lou Holtz. I mean, what is this? Is this pick on the geriatrics week or whatever we're doing? Like, I mean, come on. There's critics out there.
Certainly not in Congress. It's not. Just saying.
And mic drop. Oh, that's good. Good one. All right. Your money line, you lost. BYU loses to Kansas 38-27.
Yeah.
Kansas pretty good.
BYU had some shots and missed. They had some turnovers and stuff. But Kansas was good. They're solid. They were good. They were really good. They've
done a great job. He's done a great job. All right, Neal. My college. First game, dub. Got the Florida State Seminoles. Had it the whole time.
Oh, stop it.
Had it the whole time.
Stop.
-2 at Clemson.
So lucky. You got lucky.
I will say this. I'm not on the bandwagon that Clemson sucks. I know a lot of people, it's over.
Got a lot of talent still.
They still can play, and theirs is definitely quarterback driven. You can tell the frustration setting in with Dabo. I mean, he's out here persecuting his coordinators on national TV in the middle of a game. So you can tell it's getting to them a little bit. They're 2-2. They've lost 2 for the first time this early, probably forever. But Florida State, that's what teams do. They find a way to win. I mean, and they got some dudes at receiver, man. They can bust you at any moment on offense with Keon Coleman. Dude,
yeah.
That guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
He's terrific.
I mean, he is unbelievable. I mean, he's huge. He's
there's
athletic.
only one receiver in the country that impresses me more than him.
Who's that?
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's good too.
That is 2 SEC games in a row where there was no answer from Malik Neighbors. I know we'll talk about it later, but Coleman's right there with him. Yeah.
I mean, and you got a good quarterback, and they found a way to get it done, and win on the road. I think they're really good. All right, my second game, I was starting out hot. Second game, I had the Texas A&M Aggies -7.5 against Auburn. This was pretty much.
Did you tell Hugh you went against him?
No, I'm sure he heard. Okay. But look, let's call this what it is. Okay, I know we got a lot of Auburn people on here. I played at Auburn, or sat and watched everybody play at Auburn. My wife's a graduate.
You practiced at Auburn.
I did. Practice hard.
Yeah.
Practiced hard.
It's more than I did.
They're so bad on offense, man. Peyton Thorne is not the guy. Freeze is pulling, like you could tell. I was watching the game. It was like Hugh is losing his mind.
Now, I know Hugh well enough to know and look at the body language. He was really upset at Thorne.
So many negative plays and taking too many sacks, man. And when he does throw it, he's not even that good.
Had a couple opportunities where there was something open that he couldn't hit him. There was a couple of those there. You could tell Hugh was really frustrated.
I mean, I could tell. I was feeling bad for Hugh. I mean, he was just like losing his mind. I mean, they schemed up some plays. They had guys running wide open. He's missing wide open throws on the wheel right out of the backfield.
It's one of the reasons like this. A&M's got a couple of games coming up where I'm just super fascinated. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, because had Auburn had some quarterback play, that thing could have gotten interesting, but they didn't, and it didn't.
You gotta, if it's Robbie Ashford or if it's Holden Grinder, whoever the guy is, and Robbie's dynamic as far as he has got his talent levels through the roof.
But his decision making's not great.
But it's not even that. I mean, it is decision making. But when he runs the football, like it's like kick, and there's a lane big enough I could run through. But he tries to bounce it and tries to score every time. Just blow it up in there. Run.
Get what they give you.
If Robbie Ashford would do what he's coached to do.
Yeah.
If he would, because they're not coaching him, they're coaching him to do
he's
this.
Clearly not doing it.
And he's doing something else.
Yeah,
if he would do what he's coached to do, he would be unbelievable. But he's not. And so, but at the same time, at least he gives you a chance.
I mean, if
Peyton Thorne gives you no chance.
If I had a head full of hair and a Pfizer deal,
Yeah.
I'd be dating Taylor Swift right now. I mean, the ifs are.
Peyton Thorne, I'm sure he's a great kid. He gives Auburn no chance to win, none, because they can't
Right.
score.
Right.
They had something going in the run game. Then they had some kind of crazy amount of negative plays, but they finally got something going in the running game, and then they would get a penalty.
A&M's defensive front, man. Whew.
Yeah, their front seven.
They're loaded.
Legit. Now let's go to the positives of Auburn, which I was actually really impressed with. And you mentioned it earlier. Defensively,
Yeah,
they were short guys too.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of guys get hurt. Dude, they threw it up in there, man. They played extremely hard.
No, they did.
They outscored the offense 7-3.
Got a little speed on that side of the ball too.
Yeah,
they made some plays. They were good.
I saw improvement.
Yeah.
Drastic improvement on
Agreed.
that side of the ball.
Agreed.
And then they get very fortunate. They get to come home this week and play Georgia. So that'll be actually an interesting game because it's going to be, if you like defense, that's the game to watch. All right, Neal, I had two losses in a row. Okay. Bad losses. And these wasn't bad, like bad beat losses. This is bad program losses. One is Southern Miss loses 44-37 outright. They were favored by 7.
Yeah.
Arkansas State can't score versus air, and they were running through Southern Miss like shit through a tin horn. They had no chance of slowing them down or stopping them. Now Southern Miss they could score, but I mean they couldn't get a stop when they needed one. I mean, I'm talking about simple stuff, pulling read zone for like 70. It was just bad deal, man. They got beat. That was a really bad loss for Southern Miss. Really bad. And then this was actually a win for them, but a loss for me. I had Indiana minus 17. It took 4 overtimes for them to beat Akron. Akron actually had a 31-yard field goal in the middle of the field with no time on the clock in regulation to win the game, and he shanked it. Basically a little bit more than an extra point. Indiana's so bad they're actually okay on defense, but they didn't play great on defense. But offensively, man, I mean, it was like, you talking about a lot of questions about offensive coordinators across the country this week. It's 3rd and 10. You're minus 35, and they're running like true old school option on 3rd and 10. They get 3 or 4 yards and punt. Like, whoa. Like, give yourself a chance.
Look, I like a lot of those people, but those are the kind of losses that linger.
But they won. They found a way to win in 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
4 overtimes it took. But like in the second overtime,
yeah.
Okay? This is the stuff I'm talking about, the quarterback play. Second overtime, everybody has to go for 2. I know all my fans out in Colorado, y'all are not used to this, but in the second overtime, you have to go for 2. So Akron had scored, did not get their 2-point conversion. So Indiana scores, they're going for 2. He's throwing the ball. There is not a swinging dick on the right side of the field. Not a one. Except for the Indiana guy sitting by himself going, woo, 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 by himself. And the quarterback's just looking around everywhere but the guy that's wide open. I mean, I'm talking about nobody within 15 yards of him on a 2-point conversion. Nobody. And what's he do? He throws the ball out of the back of the end zone on a 2-point conversion to win the game. Give your guy a chance. Somebody. Throw it to somebody. I mean, we just scared of taking a sack? I don't know. That was wild. I have no idea. All right, Neal. We got a special guest today.
Okay. I was not made aware of a special guest, but I have a feeling that I know who the guest is. So we'll wait for the guest to show up, and there he is.
Hello, Neal.
Hello, Joker. Good to have you back.
Neal,
Yes.
for the second week in a row, I have saved Tyler's ass. Because Colorado was getting 21 points on Saturday. And they had their date with reality. And, Neal, they got their ass killed. Did you know, Neal, before the last drive of the game, that Colorado had 38 yards of offense in the game?
That's not a lot. 38, not a lot. It's more than Iowa, but it's not a lot.
They had to get off. It was 42-0. All the Oregon Ducks that matter, they were already at the fraternity parties, and Dion was trying to score to keep from getting embarrassed.
You saying you think the Oregon football players left the stadium early to go to fraternity
100%.
parties? Okay,
100%.
Interesting.
We were all partying out in Eugene, and somehow or another, the game was still going on. It's embarrassing.
Are you a Georgia fan, Joker?
Yes.
Okay.
This week only.
I got you.
Yes, I love my dogs. Free shirt.
Yeah.
My other friend in Gotham gave me a pullover. But at the end of the day, Neal, Scoops McCready. And did you know in Gotham you're known as Scoops McCready?
I did not know that.
So Scoops, we were looking for you in the post-game press conference, and there's really nothing to be said. And I love how all the Colorado fans have just disappeared. Crickets. I think they deleted their social media accounts. They're nowhere to be found. I had no trolls this weekend. Everybody was like,
really? Nobody sent you anything?
They were waiting. They were teasing the Joker, telling him, this is going to age well. Wait. I haven't seen them. They haven't come back to show up. Wonder where they're at.
Got a lot of L's coming in Boulder. Now, Deion Sanders, Joker, said that you better get him now. Better get him now. That's what he said. Better get me now.
We're going to get him now, next week, the next week. Except when they play Stanford, he may get him a dub there. I don't know when that game is. I'm sure it'll be personal the Stanford week. Did you notice how it wasn't personal this week?
I did.
It's funny how that works out, huh?
Did seem to be a little personal to Dan Lanning, maybe. Said they chase clicks. We chase W's.
That's it. That's what we do.
That was interesting. It's interesting.
I look forward to Thursday when I come back and tell you how Caleb Williams is single-handedly going to win the Heisman Trophy this weekend because he's going to throw for 6,497 yards on Saturday.
6,497.
In one game.
That is a lot.
In one game.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, it could happen.
Shedeur Sanders will find a way to throw for 14 yards, though. Somehow, some way. We'll get him to 14 yards.
I look forward to that, Joker, on Thursday.
I'll see you Thursday, bro.
Okay.
Thanks, Scoops.
All right. That was the Joker with his
How about the Joker get me
covered
2 dubs?
2 dubs.
And technically the Joker is responsible for like 10% of my wins.
I know. Yeah. So far, it's been good to you. What's the line this week?
It's 21. I'd like to personally thank all of the Colorado faithful out there because let me tell you what they are doing.
They're keeping the line down.
They're keeping the line down. Y'all just keep betting on Colorado because y'all keep keeping the line down. I'm going to hammer it again this weekend. I don't care who they're playing. That was embarrassing.
It was predictable. All right. Who else you got?
That's it on college.
All right.
NFL, homie.
Yep.
Starting with you, you did pretty good on the NFL. You had
I was a point away from having a really good week.
You were really, really close. You had a really good week.
Yeah.
You had Detroit -3, and I know GJG's in here, and he's very upset because the Detroit Lions just dismantled Atlanta. Atlanta had no chance in that game.
Yeah, Detroit played well.
Desmond Ritter's terrible, and he played like it. 20-6, they lose. Here's one of your, which is really you're a couple points away from being perfect. You had the Jets +2.5. They
almost got it.
They lose 15-10. They had a chance to come back.
Zach Wilson's not an NFL quarterback.
It's tough, dude.
It's over.
It's tough.
He's not an NFL quarterback. They've got to address that.
I
know they had Aaron Rodgers. I don't know, but he's not the answer. And so once you know someone's not the answer, you got to try something different. because that's the only message that you can send to your locker room that, hey, guys, we get it too. We're going to try someone else. Obviously, plan A is out. But if that's plan B, it's time to look at plan B and go, okay, that doesn't work. Let's get to plan C. Because it can't get worse. It can't be worse than him. So you got to try something else. I don't know what that else is. I'm not an NFL personnel director. But I can tell you that I would be going, okay, let's go find plan C. And then let's go to plan D. And we might have to go to plan E or F or G, but you owe it to that defense, as good as it is, to keep trying until maybe you find something that is serviceable. Because I watched that game, and Wilson's not serviceable. And, hey, he kind of quits. He's a little soft. He doesn't want it, and his teammates know it. You got to at least put somebody in there who the team goes, hey, this guy's not Aaron Rodgers. Get it? But he's busting his ass for us. Yeah. Let's try to help him.
That was he had moments, and then he just, like you said, though, he just is so inconsistent. I don't know. But it's who do you go get, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, you got him, but I'm with you. I don't know if you don't go get Nick Foles and say, learn the offense, let's go.
Sure.
All right.
He can't do worse.
No. In a game that I actually bet, my heart was broken. I tried to go with you guys, vibing, chase. Tried to go with you guys. I took the Saints money line in this game. You had the Packers -1.5.
Mm-hmm.
And they win by 1.
I know.
Half a point there on the loss. I had the Saints money line. And how about just choking your freaking guts up with a very easy field goal?
Here's the thing about the Saints. You can tell about the field goal kicker all you want. The thing with the Saints is their offensive front's not good. And in that league, if your front's not good, it's just going to be really, really hard. Or in any league. Hell, that applies to some college teams. When your front's not good in the NFL, it's impossible. And they're not good. And they're not good.
Yeah, and then Derek Carr gets hurt. I don't know how long. I haven't seen anything today. I don't know how long, if he's going to be out for an extended period of time. Hurt his shoulder. I think he'll be fine. Shoot him up. Let's go. A game last night that I actually hit. I went with you there, Scoops. I took the Steelers money line last night, like 144. I think is what I ended up getting it at.
Yeah.
They beat the Raiders 23-18. You had the Steelers plus 2.5 or 3.5, and you said on the show they wouldn't need them. They were going to win outright, and by gosh, they did.
They did.
Garoppolo's terrible.
He is. From
the jump, he was throwing into coverage. He was feeling the pressure. He was trying to get rid of it. He was making bad decisions.
I like Pickett a little bit. I know he does some bad things. I know there's a long way to go.
Only thing that he doesn't do well as an NFL quarterback, which blows my mind, he does a lot of things well. He's not very accurate.
Yeah. I mean,
he misses like easy throws that normal NFL guys make. But I like the way he plays and competes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I do too. He really competes.
Yeah. And then probably the easiest cover in the history of the NFL, like literally maybe, you had the Dolphins -6.5, and they won by a cool 50.
Yeah. I wanted just to take 2 of those points and give them to Green Bay, and I'm good.
Yeah, just let me borrow a couple.
If I could have distributed 4 points, I mean.
Just give me a couple.
Yeah.
Just give me a couple.
Miami right now, I mean, look, Denver's bad. There's a lot to say about Denver. That being said, Miami's legit. When they're healthy.
Well, dude, they didn't even have Jalen Waddle didn't play yesterday.
I get it.
Did you mean to tell you? And my man Clay,
when Tua's healthy, that is a dynamic offense.
My man Clay Karcher hit me with this and this morning, and I was like, yeah. When the best fit that could have ever happened, and they got a cheap draft pick, was getting A-Chain to go with that offense. I mean, he shot out of a cannon, man. I mean, he really does some good things for them for offense. He's going to be really good for their offense, and it's a perfect fit.
It got buried because we were doing all the Jimbo stuff and A&M and all that, but
he's good.
A-Chain was good, really good at A&M. Yeah. So should surprise no one that he's this good at the pro level.
All right, Neal, my NFL, I'm done with them. They were terrible. I had the Tennessee Titans plus 3.5, and they just got they got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Bad.
They're bad.
Bad that was just a gross football game. So if you're a Titans fan, that was gross.
Yes.
I don't want any part of it. I won on Thursday night. I took the 49ers minus 10.5. They won easily against the Giants. They're good, dude.
Yeah, they're really good.
That was easy, especially with Saquon not playing. Minus 10.5. They won 30-12. All right. In the game that I was about to throw something at my TV, I somehow found a way to cover. I had the Chargers +1 at the Vikings. I wanted to strangle Staley. He goes for it 4th and 1. Hasn't ran the ball up the middle. Like, you talking about stuff that frustrates you? You're 4th and 1. You need 1 yard. They're out of timeouts. Punt the damn ball away. You got Bosa. You got a good defense. Make Cousins drive the freaking length of the field, and he's got to score a touchdown, not a field goal, a touchdown.
Yeah.
With no timeouts. And he decides to go for it from his own 28-yard line on 4th and 1. And what play do? They don't do, hey, let's get Herbert on the edge, let him run it, let's give it to one of our running backs. Nope. We're going to run the old, let's get under center and run a freaking fullback dive. Like, why in 4th and 1 does every NFL team thinks it's 1964? You've been in shotgun, you're doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden it's 4th and 1. Let's get under center and run the old fullback dive play.
Chargers don't like to spend money on head coach, and they're paying for it right now.
Jeez, me, Chris.
They should be better than this.
They find a way to win the game because the defense saved their ass. But damn, if you're going to go for it on 4th and 1, stop running a fullback dive when you don't run it ever.
Jason Peep says the Jets are going to try and trade for Kirk Cousins. I heard that earlier today too. Look, if you're Minnesota,
you're 0-3 now.
You're done. You might. Kirk Cousins is not your long-term quarterback of the future. If you could get value for him, you'd have to think about it. Now it's waving the
expensive.
It's waving the flag on a season in September to your fan base. And sometimes ownership doesn't like doing that, and I get it. Now, if you're the Jets, Kirk Cousins makes a ton of sense.
Because if you get rid of Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson's going to be pissed too. Because who's he going to throw to him?
Well, and I'm just going to tell you, Justin Jefferson's going to be a Bengal.
Ooh. It moved, Neal.
T. Higgins will move
Neal,
on. T. Higgins will move on.
It moved.
My guess is T. Higgins will be a Chief, and Justin Jefferson will be a Bengal.
Is that sourced? Semi?
I mean,
speaking of semis.
I mean, I can't say that I'm the one sourcing it, but I know media people who believe that.
That's what I'm saying. There's talk. There's
to believe that's to be the case, yes.
I like it. All right, Neal. In one of the worst losses in the history of the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys showed up in Arizona last night.
How about that?
And just laid a damn egg.
That's what they do, though.
That's
what they do.
I'm done.
That's what they do.
I'm done.
Dallas, you can't count on them.
Dallas, you had me. I was with you. I was rolling. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, this is the year. This is the year for America's team. Nope. Went out and just got ran through like shit through a tin horn with Arizona, the worst NFL team. And Arizona, you screwed up. Why is Arizona screwed up? Because Arizona, you are no longer the worst team in the National Football League because you have won one game. And I don't know if the next team we're about to talk about is ever going to win a game, because I closed this bad boy up this 3-2 NFL week with a easy Chiefs minus 12.5 against the worst team in the National Football League, the Chicago Bears, led by the worst quarterback in the history of the National Football League, Justin Fields.
He's just literally a shell of the player that he once was at Ohio State. He's not – people said he wasn't an NFL player there. I get it, but he's not – they have completely taken his soul, ripped it out of his chest, and thrown it to the garbage. He's done. They have ruined him.
All right, here's what we got to do.
If I'm Caleb Williams and the Bears draft me, I think I'm going to the Bears, I swear I think about staying at USC for another year.
Probably get some NIL money.
I mean, you can't literally because the money's too much. But my God, if I'm his people, I'm like, no.
Well, look, Bears, you don't have to tank. Go try to win. See, they don't have to tank. They have just go try to win every single week and start Justin Fields. You're guaranteed to get the number one pick. He's that bad.
He's awful.
And blames other people.
It's over. There's no leadership to him. He's lost his charisma. It's eaten him alive. Again, and I blame the Bears. I don't blame him. it was hopeless. He wasn't ready to play when they played him.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. All right, Neal, let's finish this up, and then we'll get them out of here today. All right, let's just talk about the SEC games this past week, and then we'll get out of here. We'll skip around a little bit. We'll start with that we didn't have on the sheet. Alabama wins 24-10 at Ole Miss. Look, this was for me, and I know you've talked about it till you're blue in the face already on your shows. This was a tale of two halves for me watching it. I thought in the first half, the defense from Ole Miss gave their offense every chance to really extend the lead.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought they played really well in the first half.
Yeah,
the defense did.
Pete had a great plan.
But they were on the field way too damn much.
Yeah.
If you look at time of possession in the first quarter, Ole Miss, I believe, had 6 minutes and change in the first quarter of time possession. In the second quarter, they only had 3 minutes and change in the second quarter of time possession. And then when they come out in the second half, and we're talking about defense right here. When they come out in the second half, I think I text you this at some point in time on Saturday. They look, even though they had the lead, they looked defeated. Like they did not have the same juice on defense in the second half. And I'm talking about before the end of the game. I'm talking about in the start of the third quarter.
Right.
I don't know if they were tired. I don't know, but they just looked like it was almost like when they missed the field goal, like that was some kind of big momentum shift that they were beat. They came out like playing like they were beat, but they had a lead, if that makes sense. It was just two different energies.
Yeah. Well, and Alabama, to its credit, I thought made a couple of adjustments. One, defensively, offensively, they just started leaning on Ole Miss's defensive front. They started just establishing the running game. They put Milroe in positions where he could have success, get confidence, and they just kind of wore him down. And then defensively, and this is the problem for Ole Miss moving into this week, they just can't protect him. They can't protect him. Ole Miss's problems, man, we can talk about play calling and Lane's tweets and all of that stuff. Their problem is up front on offense. They're just not very good right now.
By the way, you had me catching shrapnel on Saturday.
I know. You are not the source.
Good gracious.
I know.
You had me catching shrapnel.
I know. Sorry.
It did sound like something I would say, but I did not say it. Look, here's Ole Miss's deal moving forward. They have to find a way to run the football.
They do.
Okay. Lane's offense has always been dependent on the run.
Yep.
It opens up things, so on and so forth.
They have to run the football, and it's all up front. They've got to get better up front. Quinshon Judkins today had a quote, and I don't think he meant it this way because he has that soft voice and stuff. But he said, you can be the best player. And I'm loosely paraphrasing.
Okay.
I'm going to get close. You can be the best player in the country, but if the guy next to you or the guy in front of you isn't doing his job, it doesn't matter.
Ooh. Oh, that'll be fun.
They're getting beat up front.
Here's what they got. So they're losing their one-on-one. So here's I'm going to get a little coachy here on you, okay? They've been doing a lot of zone schematic things, one-on-one blocking in the run game.
Mm-hmm. And
trying to get to the edges and things like that. And I think that's what they've had success with in the past, okay, with Zach Evans and Snoop and those guys.
They really miss Evans.
And I don't think this is a running back problem.
I don't either.
I think you got to get to more, in my opinion, which will buy you a cup of coffee, they got to get to more gap scheme. All right, because you got Quinshon, who is a downhill north-south. That's where he makes his money. He's not a burner. He looked faster, I guess you could say, last year, but he's not slow. The guy hasn't lost that many steps, but they're doing too much perimeter with him. They got to get some gap scheme because they're not moving anybody up front. That's the problem.
They're getting blown.
They're not moving anyone. So
yeah.
If you can't move them, you have to do one of two things. You either have to run, we had the worst offensive line in the history of football in 2012. Okay. So if you're not very good, if you can't win your one-on-one battles, you got to do one or two things. You got to start running gap schemes where you're double teaming, okay, and kicking and creating angles and double teams. That's gap scheme, okay? Double teams and angles to get people moved out of the hole, which they're not doing a whole lot of right now. Everything is, zone oriented where you're having to win one-on-one battles, and they're not winning those one-on-one battles. The other thing you can do is run the old-fashioned sucker plays, which we run a lot. Hey, I want the offensive line. Y'all take off going right. I'm going to go left, and it's one-on-one in space. But you got to do one of those two things, because right now your quarterback's your leading rusher. You're not going to be able to throw the ball effectively, because they don't have to honor the run in the back end, because they can beat you with a man short in the box.
And that's their other problem is right now, and maybe this gets fixed when Trey Harris comes back healthy, but they just don't have anybody that's that burner that takes the top off the defense, that gets that separation, that sets up the big chunk play. They're having to scheme those, and they're really dependent on Dayton Wade. They're really dependent on Jordan Watkins, and those are good receivers, but those can't be your lead receivers. And right now, those are their only receivers. That's who they're getting, I think, 11 catches out of total on Saturday. They've got to find something else. They've got to get Aiden Williams involved. They've got to get Trey Harris back. Maybe Priestcorn will play his way into shape. He looked like someone who hadn't played in a while. The same for Zachary Franklin. But look, you can't get into a lot of deep passing stuff when the quarterback is getting hit the way that Dart was getting hit. They have a problem up front, Tyler. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they're not playing the freshman left tackle that played a year ago. He played 15 snaps.
What's the deal on that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody's in the Cooper Chevrolet chat was asking me. I don't know.
Yeah. So they've got issues, and they'll give credit to Alabama, because I thought Alabama deserves a lot of credit for the adjustments they made in the second half. They put Milroe in spots where he could do things that he's good at.
He will throw you one, though, won't he?
And he will. You know, but you can't. When he does it, you can't lose your mind on him. You just have to say, "Hey, that's
the pick.
That's part of the dish," and you just keep going. And in the second half, they got going. They ran the ball well. They had some design runs. He made a couple of deep ball throws that connected. And
that pick he threw in the end zone, that was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen.
Let's move on from that one.
Hang on real quick for
the
one thing that from an offensive standpoint too, Ole Miss has got to get to tempo. When they are on schedule, they're very productive, but they're not able to get into tempo because they're setting themselves up and they're getting behind the chains. And so the tempos, they got to get to it. All right, Kentucky beats Vandy 45-28.
Yeah.
I'm mad at myself. I have been betting against Vandy the whole freaking year, and I didn't do it. And, of course, guess what? They still didn't cover. So Vandy's terrible. I wouldn't get too excited if I was a Kentucky fan. I mean, you give up 28 points to Vandy. That's not good.
We'll see about Kentucky this week.
All right, Tennessee plays Frank Harrisless. UTSA wins 45-14. That's what they do. They beat bad teams.
Yep.
All right, game that I was
great game. It was
shocked.
A great game.
Not shocked. I was surprised. You see what LSU's problems are. They got magnified in that game.
Yeah.
If you can protect the quarterback, you can get to the back end. That's twice this year. When they've gotten after people.
See, I didn't think that Arkansas did the greatest job in the world of protecting Jefferson. I thought Jefferson played an elite game.
He did.
He extends plays. He's so much better than he gets. For whatever reason, there's this narrative out there that KJ Jefferson is this buffoon of a quarterback, that he's just this big body. That it's just not true. I mean, he's actually playing really good football right now, and they don't protect him. They did better protecting him this week.
I misspoke. When he has time, he has time to throw.
Yes.
When the other team, whether you're extending in plays or protecting, when you have time to throw, they get exposed on the back end.
They can be exposed on the back end. The back end of their defense. But now in the second half, it was interesting because Arkansas scored, but you saw how difficult it was to score because you're having to really, really focus on Perkins. And is it Wingo?
Mm-hmm.
And
18.
Man, they got dudes who can get after
Mason
you.
Smith.
Yeah, if you're, it's going to be the challenge for Ole Miss this week. But yeah, no, I mean, look, here's what Arkansas was able to do. I thought this was the key to Arkansas's game. The reason they were able to stay in it was twofold. I thought Enos did a terrific job of play calling.
He did.
I thought the way that he utilized multiple receivers, including a couple that really haven't been in the game plan for Arkansas previous weeks.
They got some sneaky good players, man, at receivers.
They do. They forced. So they had a couple of guys. This is interesting. They had a couple of guys that early in the season had a case of the dropsies, and they kind of got away from him. And last week, Pittman said, hey, we've got to get those guys back involved. We just have to figure it out. And they did. Forced them. The young tight end, number 9, good player. And they used him really well. And then, but I thought the key for Arkansas, and the reason they stayed in the game, they were able to run the football between the tackles. They didn't have Sanders, but they had depth there. They have some other guys. I can't think of the kid's name. It starts with a D. It's like Dominion or Dunyon or something like that. He had a really nice game. They were able to run between the tackles. They exchanged scores, and it just came down frankly, it kind of came down to who got the ball last. LSU got it. They ate the clock, got the field goal. And again, man, Malik Neighbors.
He's a dude, man.
They couldn't guard him. And so many third downs, he bailed LSU out. You take Malik Neighbors off that field and just put an average receiver, Arkansas pulls it off.
He had like 200 yards in the first half against Mississippi State.
Dominion had a really good game.
Thanks to the Cooper Chevrolet chat to Mach 10 Sports there. Dominion.
So I'm really interested to see a couple of games this weekend. I know we'll talk about them tomorrow, and we'll talk about them Thursday. LSU at Ole Miss is a pivotal game for Ole Miss, obviously. Arkansas, Texas A&M in Arlington's a fascinating game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because
there's a bunch of fascinating matchups.
Kentucky, Florida is really interesting. There's a lot. South Carolina, Tennessee's got a chance to be interesting.
Yep. All right, so Florida 22, Charlotte 7, nothing there. They just kind of play with their food a little bit. Good on defense, shocker. Not very good on offense, shocker. So kind of more of the same there. Georgia 49, UAB 21. I'm mad at myself on that one too. I should have put bet UAB. I knew Georgia wasn't going to cover that. That was stupid on my part. But play with their food a little bit.
And Cole's right. Arkansas had to let LSU score there because you get the ball back and see if you can make magic happen, because you could see they were going to settle for the field goal and the kicker wasn't going to miss the chip shot.
No, that's always hard as a coach to have to go tell your players to let them score.
But had they would have had a minute and a half or so, and maybe you score and you do the same deal and you go for 2 and try to steal one.
Missouri 34, Memphis 27. This game really wasn't that close. Memphis scored at the end, but I don't know, man. I'm still. I'll tell you what, Cook is playing a lot better than I gave him credit for at the start of the season. But Missouri is one of the 3 undefeated SEC teams left. But they're not. Their average is grits, man. They just haven't played anybody. South Carolina, Mississippi State. If I had to take something out of this game, dude, Mississippi State decided they were going to push the ball downfield. They knew that they hadn't done that, and they were able to score points better than I gave them credit for.
It's like someone in a staff meeting said, "Hey, look,
we got to do this.
I know we're going to do something different as a program, but if we want to get to year 3, we might want to do some things that."
They played good enough offensively to win the game.
They did. Ironically, Rattler's a good player.
Rattler's a good player. I thought this game would kind of be like 28-10, probably. But they played good enough on offense to win the game defensively. They got 8 up. Rattler played a hell of a game. South Carolina wins there. And we'll get the previews tomorrow. Right before we get out of here, we got Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2 games
Monday night, starting here in about 2 hours. The Eagles are -5 at the Buccaneers. The total is 44.5. Neal, I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a non-pick deal, but I did pretty good last week, so I'm going to see if I can talk myself into going 2 for 2 again tonight.
Okay.
I'm taking the Eagles -5 at the Bucs. I just think they're a better team. I don't think the Bucs have played anybody, even though they're both undefeated, and it's at home. I think the Eagles are out to make a point today. I'm taking the Eagles -5 at the Bucs.
Okay. I don't hate the under here, by the way, 44.5.
I don't either. If I did anything on that, I would go the under. And then, Neal, the Los Angeles Rams are going to the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like this is the rat of all rat lines. Why are the Bengals favored by 3 at home, and what they've put on tape for the first two weeks of the season?
I don't know. And as of this hour, I don't know that anyone knows whether Burrow's playing. I think it looks like he's going to try to play. Is your friend, our friend of the show, AJ McCarron, signed with the Bengals?
Signed with the Bengals. I went to the closet. I was going to wear my AJ McCarron, bring it back out. I got the AJ McCarron number 5 game worn Bengals jersey
Oh, yeah?
that I was going to wear today for the show, and I couldn't find it. So one of my kids has put it somewhere.
How about that?
So hope AJ doesn't hear that. He's wearing number 4 now. He's not number 5. He went to number 4.
Yeah, T. Higgins is 5. He's probably not going to bounce T out of that jersey.
That's probably true. That's probably very true.
Probably not going to get T out of the jersey.
But really happy for him. He had for the people who don't know, he spent the first 4 years of his career in Cincinnati, and it was going really well for him. He liked Mr. Brown. He had a really good relationship with the owner. I think that's part of the reason he came back. They actually called him because, he came in when Andy Dalton got hurt, and I think he went 5-1 as a starter, 6-1 as a starter, takes him to the playoffs. And they should have won it, but anyway. So he's got a good relationship with the city, good relationship with the owner. He's going as a practice squad guy, and then until he catches up with speed, and then I think the only way he will dress tonight is if Joe Burrow is deemed inactive.
Gotcha.
Now next week, I imagine he will be the backup starting next week. He'll probably be dressing every game from here on out. He will be the backup.
Because right now, Jake Browning is the backup.
He's thrown one pass in
the
Basketball League.
Yeah.
So I imagine he will go to, once he picks up speed on offense and everything else. And look, in the NFL, that's one thing that's cool is like it's called different things, but they're all the same concepts and things like that.
So AJ's getting us tickets starting next week. Is that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, we can probably. I know a guy. We can probably
remind me to ask you something. I forgot to ask you.
Okay.
Remind me the word tickets.
Tickets sketchy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get. I'm probably going to take the Rams +3 tonight.
Yeah, I'm going Rams +3. I bet Bengals the first 2 weeks and they lost. I don't hate the under here either at 44.
44.
Yeah.
Especially if Burrow doesn't play.
Yeah. Well, even if Burrow does play, Burrow's been really limited. I mean, they can't move the pocket. Defenses know it. They can't do a lot of the things that Burrow kind of does. Burrow's sneaky good about extending plays because he has a remarkable pocket presence, and he is more athletic than he gets credit for. But his calf is locking up on him, and he can't move, and he's a stationary object back there. I think playing
not the right offensive line to be stationary behind.
I think playing him not healthy is not smart. But this is the Bengals. He wants to play really bad, and B, this is the Bengals going, hey, we're 0-3. Can we make the playoffs? And in that division, maybe. I mean, Baltimore lost to Indianapolis, and sort of looked some of their stuff kind of got exposed in the process, but. We'll see. It's a big if Burrow plays, protecting him and winning the game would be a big lift for them. But yeah, we'll see.
Feels like a trap line though, doesn't it?
A little bit, but it's still Monday night in Cincinnati. The Rams are not exactly world beaters. So I mean, Cincinnati, for as bad as they've been, they were in that Baltimore game to the end.
Yeah.
That's
all I got today, boss.
All right, we'll
back on time tomorrow.
We'll get out. We'll back on time tomorrow at 2. Yep.
2.
No basketball press conferences tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow at 2 with episode 112 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. You know about Rain. Just hit them up on Instagram at rainbodyfuel. Just Rain Body Fuel on Instagram, not .com. That would mess you up.
And reminding everybody in the Cooper Chevrolet chat, thank you for everybody in there today. It was hopping today. During September, you can get 3.9% financing for 72 months on the new Chevy Silverado Crew Cab and no payment for 90 days. September's running out, so make sure you guys go see Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston or go to cooperchevrolet.com.
For Tyler, I'm Neal. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.